Hey YouTube, what's going on? Mark here. Happy Monday to all, and most important of all, happy first of two college farewell tour week. So originally the plan was we were going to do the 2024 Garra Acción y Sudor finale episode, and then tomorrow we were going to kick off the officially, like, that was going to be the pilot episode, like a Garra Acción y Sudor episode with the 2024 finale, and then tomorrow we were gonna do the first official episode with Avon, Dayton, and turn 2 Natalie Annette Ulery. But unfortunately, she says she's gonna be way too busy for like at least a semi-big, goodbye or farewell, like ceremony that, like I did with, her older sister, Abby, last year. If you want to go look at that, link is in the description. So therefore, we sadly we won't have the time to play the pig game where we try to mimic what Abby and I did in the 2022 Garra Acción y Sudor finale episode, but make it our own, but with horse instead of pig, because that plan went out the window because after the original plan of Natalie trying to beat us at horse in terms of beating us at our own game went out the window, and it was later, and because a lot can change between one time and another depending on the big time gap. So Abby found out that she was not going to be home for the summer this year because, she was going to go on these random trips for college, with her schoolmates and everything. So therefore, that original plan went out the window. Then we had a backup plan where Natalie and I were going to mimic it while making it my own by doing pig instead of horse. But then today those plans went out the window. So the Natalie Ulery episodes unfortunately have been scrapped. So safe travels in 2 days because she leaves for college on Wednesday. Safe travels to Natalie and Annette Ulery for her freshman year of college at Dayton. As she's going in, Abby will be heading out for her senior year. So best of luck to my best friend in that house, Abby Marie Ulery. So therefore, also, I wanted to wish a happy Larry 14th birthday to the cousin of the Jared's babysitter, McKenna Satterley, the myth, the legend, the one and only Maeve Walsh, the best friend of McKenna Poochmeyer, who's the older sister of my little bro, my best friend for life, Trent Poochmeyer. So shout out to those 3 Midview legends. You know who you are. But anyway, the elephant in the room. The San Antonio Spurs made another offseason move, and they're back on a specific holiday. The most important one, at least personally, besides our birthday. But that's going to be in the second half of this video. So let's talk about it. So some of you may not remember, except unless you're a Pistons fan, like C-Rad TV and Kenneth Dozier Jr. Do you remember that, guy who dropped a 50-piece against, ironically, the team he played for next mid-season, the New York Knicks, my cousin Chase Pierce's team, which we're going to discuss that in the video a little later, because, wow. But anyway, yeah, Malachi Flynn signed with the San Antonio Spurs. That random 50-piece, it was like him, that 50-piece sort of reminded you of Corey Brewer many years ago. I don't have footage of that, otherwise I would show you what happened there. And I don't have any pictures of him, nor do I want pictures of him. I didn't give a shit about him anyway when he played it when I was growing up a kid. But yeah, so our firepower has improved a lot. So maybe he can do that shit for us in San Antonio and bring, to get us close to like playoff contention again with the help of CP3 and Harrison Barnes and Stephon Castle. Only time will tell. So don't know what the funny thing about this is. Do you remember those rumors on Facebook where a former Spur looked like he was going to come back for a second run? And remember how I said that shit didn't work with Bryn or Marco? Because it didn't. And of course, we said if hypothetically when we got Harrison Barnes, we knew damn well it wasn't going to work with DeMar either. And thankfully, we didn't have to do that, thankfully. Well, if you thought DeMar was going to be bad, if hypothetically he came back to San Antonio, and if you thought, Bryn and Marco were just as bad when they came back for a second run in San Antonio, well, this one would be just as bad if this happened, let alone worse. And no offense, Samantha Smith, or her maiden name Taylor. Danny Green, it was rumored, on Facebook that he was eyeing a return to the Spurs. I mean, please don't. I mean, I appreciate everything you did for us in a Spurs uniform, but that was in the Sandhurst era in Brook Park when I was like a late teen or like young adult in my early 20s. That was in the past, considering, and the only reason why I'm bringing this up is, besides the fact that, one, we paid him millions of dollars in 2015-16 to stink up the show in San Antonio. But the most important thing I was funny about, Devontae Graham just got dealt back to Charlotte, where his original team, and he was wearing Danny's original number on the Spurs, 4. And Malachi happens to be wearing Danny's college number that he switched to in 2014-15, the year I left Sandhurst and made the transition here to Sandy Ridge. The 14 he felt more comfortable with, considering, that was his college number. He wanted that, but he couldn't because Gary Neal had it. So, and he couldn't change his number until he completed 3 full years with the same number. Well, here's the thing, though. If Danny does come back, I don't think Malachi is going to give up the 14 and let him have it. I don't think that's going to be the case. But if he does come back, and as long as nobody here in San Antonio that's a newcomer ends up taking 4, then maybe he can have his old number 4 back. But even if that 2 and 2 gets put together, it's not going to be the same Danny Green that we had in 2012, 2013, and 13-14. I mean, because he's like a lot older now, the only excuse for Forbes is at least he still was like relatively young, even in that second run in San Antonio where he sucked worse than the first run here he had in 2019-2020 before the season was stopped due to COVID. You see, at least Bryn was relatively young and could shoot the lights out compared to the second version of Marco, who indeed did suck. And the first version of Marco, as we all know, contributed to championship winning team. But don't use that to defend the second version of Marco, who indeed suck ass, because he did. And only had that one singular like Robbie Gordon good game against the Kings, which was a home game in the SBC Center. And then guess what? He just thought all of a sudden, just because he had that one good game and what was an atrocity of a season for that old bag of shit, he thought he was hot shit after all that. Well, no. Guess what? Next game, he went back to being complete ass. He went back to being straight up pure garbage. The trash player that he eventually turned out to be, I missed the day. As much as I, clowned him for, taking, not only being absolute garbage, hot caca. I mean, and, considering along with the fact that he took up Lonnie and Keldon's minutes, considering Lonnie was, I think, in his second year in the league, and Keldon was a rookie and should have got more playing time. Keldon especially should have got more playing time. Both of them should have equally got it, but no, we had Bryn and Marco taking that shit up instead. But I will admit, I did miss the time even during then, but I didn't say it at the time because, there was a lot of stuff going on in my life in that pre-COVID part of 2019, 2020, but there was, missing the time when he was good in 13-14, and even while Marco was also good in 14-15, Danny Green also started to go down the toilet in that year, but then he got worse in 15-16. So, but remember in 16-17, he turned it around a little bit, and in 17-18, he was just like, meh. He was not the worst, but not the best either. And then because of the whole debacle with Uncle Dennis with the fraud, we shipped him away to Toronto, which is how we got the Rosen to begin with. So, therefore, Danny Green coming back to San Antonio, even if he got his old number 4 back, this wouldn't work because there would just be Bryn and Marco all over again. Marco in 2018-19 and 19-20, and Bryn in the first half of 21-22. So, yeah, Danny Green, if you're watching this by stumbling across this video by accident, think twice before you rejoin the Spurs. Sure, it would be nice for you and some people who actually root for you in San Antonio, whether they're just fans of you alone, fans of the Spurs alone, or fans of both you and the Spurs, but stick with the Spurs and not follow you, or, were fans of the Spurs but also followed you wherever you went, or just simply bandwagon off the Spurs, to go be a fan of the team you're on. So think twice about, rejoining us. I mean, it wouldn't be the same like before. I mean, bringing back players for a second run with any NBA team, not just us, but the other 28 teams, never a good idea. I mean, it probably worked from some teams, but for us so far, it has never worked. So, therefore, Malachi Flynn, he can shoot the lights out. Apparently, he can play. I mean, I don't know if he's done it on a consistent basis. I mean, He's probably average single digits, but I mean, sometimes, the most random scrubs will have their career high games against random teams. But it seems like ever since we've been at the bottom for the last 5 years, since that crazy 2019-2020 season, it's like every time we face a bad team that's just as bad as us, if not worse, some or even a good team, some scrub on that team will shit it up against everybody else, but then when they play against us, they have their career high against us, because this shit didn't happen with Duncan Spurs like ever. Well, maybe every once in a while in his later years, but other than that, yeah, it never really happened that much most of the time. But as soon as he retired and Parker Ginobili retired, all the good players left all the teams or had their own retirements, and we've been at the bottom of the West for the last 5 years. Almost every team, good, bad, mediocre, or hot caca, some scrub on any of those tier level teams, like an A level team, a B level team, a C tier team, a D tier team, or F tier team, always has their career high against us and never anybody else. I just hope that doesn't happen to all that much this coming season for my 28 years as a fan, and that, we don't have so many of those third quarter blues, or let alone blown leads in general. And if Malachi Flynn's gonna play, did play like that for the Pistons, he better do that shit for us, even if it's only one time. That way he can give all these other scrubs that had their career highs against us a taste of their own medicine, where a random, I wouldn't call him a scrub, because, you just never know what he could do. When you sign someone to your favorite team, they may have been a scrub somewhere else, but what if they're not a scrub for your favorite team? So be careful what you say about a player, because they just might prove you wrong if they sign you with your team. Well, Malachi Flynn, I don't like. He better give. I mean, if he could do that with the Pistons, he better do that for us, even if it's just one time. But if he proves me wrong and does it on a consistent basis, and plays really good, it doesn't have to be career high every night, then I will approve of him being on my team all the way. I want to see what he can do in the. Well, no one gives a shit about preseason except for psychopaths when it comes to any American sport. Well, preseason, he will be fighting for a final roster spot for the 2024-25 NBA regular season with 28 years a fan, to see if he gets to play alongside Wemby, CP3, Harrison Barnes, Stephon Castle, and Vassell. That whole shebang, like Ricky Martin. And Mamu. We don't know anything about Trey Jones or Zach Attack Collins yet. The moment I find out about them, I will address it in a news video right away. Now, before we get into the second half about something that hasn't happened since the Living La Vida Lab right there in 2016, the first year we didn't have Duncan. Probably some of you are probably waiting for that, my reaction video, my race review of that, crazy ass Chevrolet. Well, I wouldn't say crazy. The whole race was like that till the end. Well, that crazy ass finish to the end that was controversial. Last night's Chevrolet Monte Carlo 400 with my boy Austin doing those shitty tactics to win. Well, NASCAR will announce any possible penalties tomorrow, and once I find out what their final decision is, then I will address it in a news update video. I'll gladly take off my Spurs stuff off camera after I'm done hanging out in a happy place in Northeast Ohio with my friends in Sandy Ridge. And then I'll put on some NASCAR stuff. I'll probably put on a NASCAR shirt for maybe just for the video, take it off to go take a shower, and then do all that jazz. But that's going to be posted tomorrow. And then because I might do a mini celebration with the Coca and everything, but it depends on anyway, we'll get into that tomorrow whenever we cross that bridge, and we'll circle back to it. But right now, let's talk about the second elephant in the room when it comes to the San Antonio Spurs. So yes, the Spurs, for the first time since the Living La Vida Lab right there in 2016, the first year that Duncan was not on the team due to his retirement, were back on Christmas Day. It was so dreadful to not have the Spurs play on Christmas. It was just so dreadful. Starting in 2017, I feel like, here's my opinion of them not playing on Christmas from 2017 all the way up to 2023. From 2017-18 to 2023-24. So 2017, I feel like they still should have got a Christmas slot. considering they were still mildly competitive because Ginobili and Parker were still there, and considering it still felt weird for me a little bit to not have Duncan there since Ginobili and Parker stuck around for one more year. Should have been 2 more years for Parker, but we don't talk about that. But 2018, they didn't deserve to be on national television on Christmas. Don't want to play on Christmas, period. Well, no, national television is the only way you can play on Christmas because all the local networks have the holiday off, while the big time broadcasters have to go to work. 2019 we not being on there was deserved. So was 2020, along with the fact that we had no All Stars. That was deserved. 2021. Wouldn't have made a difference. We weren't on Christmas either way because that was a vaccine shortened season. So therefore, no, 2020 was the COVID vaccine season. I'm sorry. 2020, 2021. So I'm getting my years mixed up. 2019 was deserved because that was the 2019-2020 season. And before the season was up, the first year we missed a playoff since 96, 97. 2018, 2019 was kind of justified too since Ginobili had retired and Parker left to go play at a shitty team because he didn't want to take the leadership role from Pop and refused to give up his job as starting point guard to DeJounte. So I can understand why they didn't want to put us on national TV on Christmas in 2018 and 2019 because that was the first, that 19-20 season was the first year we were at the bottom of the West and we're heading in a direction of missed the playoffs for the first time since 96, 97. 2021, I think. Was it 2020? No, yeah. 2021 was 21-22. That we didn't deserve to be on Christmas at all. Considering, especially because especially in 2020, we didn't deserve to be there either. And it wouldn't have made a difference because of the vaccine shortened season in 2020 going into 2021. Because that season did not get done until early in mid-July because of it. And 21-22, we definitely didn't deserve to be there. But just keep in mind the reason why I kind of backtracked and repeated myself that way, because always remember 2020, 2021, and 21-22 were the exact opposite of how our season went. That first one, we started good, ended bad. The second one, it was the other way. We started bad, but ended good. 2022, 23, I don't give a shit about that because I took the season off because 2021 and 21-22 was my boiling point when I got so angry and frustrated with the team with how they did those last two seasons where I needed a fucking break. So I took 23, 22, 23 off, minus the Cleveland game, which, my dad already bought tickets for, even though originally I didn't want to go, but I'm glad I did because I wouldn't have met Beth Regali like I did, my first internet friend that I met, in any sporting event. So therefore, but 23, 24, I only caught a quarter, 1 3/4 of the season. And even if I would have caught the whole season, we kind of didn't deserve to be at Christmas because a lot of people already knew who Wemby was, Spurs fans or not. But there was also a good large chunk of them also didn't know who he was yet. Now the whole world knows who he is. So that's why they put us back on Christmas for 2024, 25. And yes, I am really excited. And the reason why it's funny to me because the Knicks are my cousin Chase Pierce's team. So therefore, we're going to be talking a lot of shit on Facebook and TikTok throughout that game where we're going to be bang, bang, Tito, bang, banging like Tito Puente. So that is going to be a fun one. No matter the outcome, it's going to be refreshing to see my team play on Christmas again during season 4 of Winter Wonderland. Maybe we'll invite my girlfriend over for Christmas and she can enjoy the Spurs with us and watch her boyfriend, scream at the TV at his favorite basketball team for 28 of his upcoming, Robbie Gordon 31 years he's lived. So yeah, this will be the first time since, since 2016 we played. Because keep in mind, even though a lot of the years Duncan was on the team, we could never capitalize and win on Christmas and win our games. Whether we were the home team or we were the road team. This includes Christmas 1999 on West 1 or 22nd when we played the Lakers and it was neck and neck. We couldn't get over the hump and they eventually, curb stomped us and won. That included that sick Kobe poster over Jaren Jackson, which I wanted the Spurs to get his son and he was in the NBA draft because of the fact that he could follow in his father's footsteps and play for the team he won the 1999 championship with and steal the fraud's number, which because it was Jaren's number before the fraud had it. It was Nazim Mohammed's number too. But you know what I mean. After we gave him up we gave up Malik Rose in exchange for him. But don't even get me started on Van Exel or that false Malik Rose, KBD. I mean, Van Exel, I kind of cut him some slack because, one, I was like 11 or 12 years old back then, and I wouldn't understand that. And two, even if I did, Malik Rose still wasn't retired then, so at the time it didn't matter. But Malik Rose has been retired for like decades now, and KBD, that false Malik, should not have been allowed to take Malik's number, period. Same way that Weatherspoon, Wieskamp, and Bouye should not have been allowed to take Bonner's number. And I swear to God, if someone takes Patty's number, I'm literally going to shoot myself, because nobody should be allowed in San Antonio. Anyone who comes to San Antonio should never be allowed to take the 15, the 8, or the 31, because those numbers only belong to Matt Bonner, Patty Mills, and Malik Rose, period. They should be in the rafters at SBC Center, where nobody can use those 3 numbers again. End of story. So the last thing I'm going to say is, all the years on Christmas, including that one in 1999, I was 5 about to be 6 when we made the move from West 22nd to Lenore. Always try to shit it up on Christmas, Even the last Christmas Spurs game I spent on Sandhurst against the Thunder, where we wore the black jerseys with our first names on the back rather than our last names. And then the first year I moved here the next year in 2015, guess what? Shit it up in Houston against the original Cheating McDouchebag before the Cheating McDouchebag game ever happened. That was like 3-4 years before that incident happened. And then, of course, the first year Duncan's gone and we play on Christmas without him, we finally win. It's like, okay, great, I'm happy, but why the fuck can you not do this shit on Christmas all the years Duncan was still on the team? It's just a Tim Duncan fan of me, just being a bit salty that we could never really win too much Christmas games with him on the team, and then we wait till he's gone to finally start winning and stop shitting it up on Christmas. But maybe that trend will continue from this coming year, as a sequel to 2016. Only time will tell. But anyway, I need to get off this platform, edit and upload this. Probably go take a shower like Terry Labonte if necessary, and get a nice cold Coke, because my mouth is dry, I need something to drink, and get a nice refreshing dinner, call it a day, and we'll get my YouTube fix on before we go to Chick-Fil-A tomorrow with work, with $43 for John Andretti, and see my friends, Cortney Funk, and who also has a YouTube channel. Well, not Cortney, but the other girl has a YouTube channel. Shout out to you, Sierra Wagner. I look forward to seeing you both tomorrow. So have a good night tonight and a better day tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Good night. I will see you all for the next video, which is going to be Tuesday, with going over the controversial 2024 Chevrolet Monte Carlo 400 at Richmond and what NASCAR decided to do with the penalties and whatnot, with there's anyone handed down for, our dirty move, and Logano doing angry and frustrated burnouts in the pit on Austin's pit box. Like, that was a bunch of bullshit too. But you'll hear more, talk about it more in tomorrow's video. So see you later, everyone. Go Spurs, go.